the towering dominance of Bolivia's Socialist Party came tumbling down. In the Bolivia election, the voters brought 2 decades of leftist politics to an end, and Bolivia heads to a runoff after the right turn in the presidential vote. So we'll see what goes on there. But they say Bolivia is set to elect the first non-left-wing president in 2 decades. And China to show off massive troops and high-tech weapons at their World War II parade. So China is teasing a glimpse of advanced new weaponry at a military parade, and China will definitely be showing off their troops and the high-tech weapons, and we'll see what's going on. As a matter of fact, the world might even be learning about China's extra-large underwater drones. And after Trump backed the peace deal, survivors recount rebel massacre in Congo. So warring factions in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo commit horrific abuses, including gang rapes, summary executions, and abductions. So Rwanda-backed rebels massacred civilians in Congo, according to what Human Rights Watch is saying. So we'll see how this goes as well. So in the Democratic Republic of Congo conflict, BBC is reporting that M23 rebels killed 40 civilians despite the peace process, and that is something else that folks are talking about. And Modi hails China ties as Besant swipes at India's rich families. So India and China are to explore border demarcations amid U.S. tensions. So definitely we'll see whether India is beefing up China and Russian ties amid that U.S. friction, I should say. So that's definitely something that folks are talking about. And Air Canada to resume service as flight attendants unions ended their strike. So definitely looks like boarding pay was a central issue, but they have come to at least some sort of resolution and all along those lines. And Spain is battling record wildfires, even as the end of a heat wave brings lower temperatures. So smoke is blanketing in the Iberian Peninsula, and huge wildfires are stabilizing in Spain. Cooler forecast fuels hope worst is over, and Spain and Portugal fires killed 2 more as Spanish troops battle the blazes, and that was reported a couple of days ago. And Israel approves a settlement project that could divide the West Bank. So definitely that's something that people are talking about as well. So definitely it'll be interesting to see what goes on in that space. And Sweden moves landmark Caroni Church to a new site. Aerial footage shows final leg of Swedish church moved to new home. So a historic Swedish church embraces inclusion with minority languages. And speaking of inclusion, I saw a post, I think it was yesterday or this morning, where Trump was talking about the Smithsonian and how it's not doing enough to highlight the future and the positive aspects of society, and is spending too much time talking about historical bad elements such as slavery and things along those lines. So he was upset and said that they would be going through all of the Smithsonians and trying to get them, I guess, to put a more positive light on things in that way. But we'll see what folks have to say about that. I thought that history was supposed to be warts and all. At least that's my expression, and that's what I say about it. But not everybody agrees. And apparently Trump wants us to have a more positive aspect of what history is at all of the nation's museums. And Trump's ambiguity is the worst of all worlds, according to the Financial Times. And definitely some people are even saying, according to the New York Times, how Europe learned to speak so Trump would listen. And definitely even CNN is saying Trump deserves credit for his Ukraine push, but it may still fall apart. So definitely we'll see what goes on in that space. And even The Guardian is saying Donald Trump is becoming the greatest unifier of Europe since the end of the Cold War. At least that's what is being reported according to one article. I think the writer was Fabrizio Tassinera. And we'll see if folks, because it was an opinion piece, agree or disagree. And like we said before, there's all this conversation about how many wars Trump has ended. I think the last count was something like 6 or 7, and whether that is actually ended or they're just on temporary pause, that is up for debate. As you just heard, the Democratic Republic of Congo was on that list, but they are still in conflict and all along those lines. And Hurricane Aaron is making its target around the Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware beaches. So Hurricane Aaron closes beaches from Florida to New York and unleashes monster waves, rip currents, and extreme erosion. We're running out of beach. North Carolina Highway 12 remains open as Outer Banks braces for Hurricane Aaron. So we'll see how the impact is on the coast of the Carolinas as well as up around Virginia and further up north. But we'll see how it goes. I don't think it's going to be making inland, but it may be some rain or other things that'll be impacting, but it's not supposed to make that much of a landfall because I think it's supposed to veer to the west if I was following those tracks correctly. And Newsom's Trump Act wins raise from Democrats. So Newsom mocks the Trump social media in a flurry of redistricting posts. And Newsom's office continues to mock Trump using his social media writing style, tiny hands. And definitely we'll see what goes on in that space. And a DNA test confirms Travis Decker is the sole suspect in the murder of his three daughters. So new evidence shows Travis Decker is the only suspect in his daughter's killing, according to what the sheriff's office is saying. So definitely that is some disturbing new evidence that is out there in that particular trial and all along those lines. And Texas House is to take up GOP congressional map delayed by the Democrats' walkout. So Texas Democrats tear permission slips imposed by Republican House speakers, and it looks like they're ready to pass the new redistricting map just as Trump wanted. A fire is burning in one of the world's tallest trees. It may lower the trees standing, but that's over there in the Oregon coast. So firefighters in a race to save Oregon's tallest tree after it ignites. So we'll see what goes on in that space as they try to find a way to save that tree and all along those lines. And what are the prospects of a ceasefire in the Russia-Ukraine war? Trump said better if Putin and Zelensky meet without him. So that was actually reported in The Hill. So Trump even said yesterday that Putin may not want to make a deal on Ukraine. And looks like the Times of India is saying, don't tell, but Donald Trump forces Zelensky-Trump meeting, but no word about captured territory. And there's a lot of talk about the significance of the Donbass in Russia's war in Ukraine. And U.S. NATO planners start to craft Ukraine's security guarantee options. So not so easy, the perils and pitfalls in providing Ukraine with security guarantees. And I'm sure the European nations will be talking about that. And that's what CNN was talking about as well. And Governor Tina Kotek doubles down on Oregon sanctuary laws in response to the U.S. Attorney General. So Wu fires back at Bondi's demand to shed so-called sanctuary policies, saying Boston will never back down, and migrant crimes against children pile up in the Boston area as mayor slams Bondi over sanctuary warning. So definitely got these conversations about what's going on with the sanctuaries. And Newsom poster says big support for California redistricting. So we'll see what goes on in there. There might be redistricting in that part of the world as well. And Trump's tactics means many international students won't make it to campus. We know that school is in the process of starting all over the country, but students' arrivals to the U.S. continue to plummet, with Asia hit especially hard. And it felt like my dreams had collapsed. International students react to Trump's policy shifts. So many U.S. colleges may close without immigrants and international students, a report is finding. And Trump slams anti-American pushback after fresh delay to Arizona copper mine. So U.S. President, that being Trump, meets BHP and Rio Tinto chiefs over the Arizona copper mines. And like I said before, Governor Josh Shapiro is saying Trump's push to end mail-in voting won't affect Pennsylvania. So it looks like both Trump and Putin are criticizing mail-in voting, and election officials are freaking out. And southern border wall will be painted black to deter people from climbing it during hot weather. Kristi Noem reveals striking new layer in Trump's border wall strategy. And it looks like it's going to try to stop people from climbing it because Trump wants to paint the border wall black, so it's hot to touch. So we'll see what goes on in that space as well. And like we said yesterday, GOP states are pouring National Guard troops into D.C. as Trump tightens controls. So there's a lot going on in that space. And like I said earlier, Trump is targeting the Smithsonian again, says it focuses too much on how bad slavery was. And he says there's too much focus on how bad slavery was and not enough on the positive aspects of society. So, like I said, lots going on. Bringing in my folks and see what they've got to say. I've got Rick Rosner with me. I've got John over there in Canada, and somewhere in the backdrop is Nick. He might be with those fights there in Spain. So hopefully he'll come on camera as well. So Rick, talk to me.
So the Smithsonian has, I don't know how many million, like, it's accumulated. It's America's history. The Smithsonian is not just one big building, not one museum building. The Smithsonian is a whole campus of a ton of different specialized museums that encompass all aspects of American life and history and science. And of course, slavery was a part of America's history. And if you're going to get in there and with your freaking crowbar and pop slavery out of the Smithsonian because it might bum some people out, that's freaking ridiculous. It's
Yep. Nick, what's your take on this? Because that would mean that there might be a couple of Smithsonians that have to disappear because the African American Museum definitely focuses on slavery and it focuses on other aspects of the African American culture, and the Native American Museum focuses on the Trail of Tears and a number of other things that are not positive and all along those lines. And there's an entire museum, I think it's part of the Smithsonian too, that is the Holocaust Museum. So if we're going to get rid of bad things and all along those things, I guess we would have to get rid of the Holocaust Museum as well.
I've got numbers here. The Smithsonian has 157 million items, 21 museums, 21 libraries, 14 education and research centers, and a zoo. So like, freaking, I guess what they're just going to bulldoze one of those museums because
that might be what they're going to do. Nick's over there studying, so we might have an answer later.
No, I was just reposting some of our previous shows onto various different Facebook groups.
We like
all right, but to answer your question about the Smithsonian, of course, I'm pretty simple with this. We need to charge people to go into the Smithsonian. In other words, let the capitalistic system prove its worth. Right now, you walk in, it's free. Are you kidding me? I walk in the National Gallery, it's free. No. You charge money for people to go see that, and then people are voting with their dollar bills, as opposed to politicians being in charge.
Museums have a suggested donation. The Smithsonian has a suggested donation of $20.
No, see, that suggests donation. See, the thing is, here's what they do overseas, like in Prague. They charge you an entry fee to go see even a cathedral. I mean, seriously, we paid, I don't know, we paid 1,000 Czech dollars or 1,100 Czech dollars, whatever that might be in US dollars, to go walk in to see the cathedral, this cathedral. I'm serious. All right. If you want to go anywhere to go watch something, they charge money to go see it. And what your country does, well, my country, I guess, too. What Washington does is Washington as usual. It's free. Come on in. Why? When you're 36 trillion and maybe 125 trillion in debt. Now, part of it's just the mindset of the people in Washington, D.C. And that for some reason you can't charge for people to go into the National Gallery. You can't charge people to go into the African American Museum. You can't charge people to go to the Smithsonian. Of course you can. And if they can't figure it out, if they're so stupid in Washington, they can't figure it out, then you need to turn over all those museums to private industry. And they'll figure it out. They'll charge people to go into those museums and make a profit. And when I say turn it over and get a royalty, sell it. But this complete mismanagement of U.S. assets is just absolutely appalling. And then the thing is, what will happen? It'll be, again, the capitalistic system. If people want to see it, they'll pay for it. If people don't want to see it, they won't pay for it.
Okay,
so Nick, hold on a second. Would you go against the wishes of the person that created the Smithsonian? Because apparently James Smithsonian bequeathed the money to the U.S. to build a museum and never charge an entry fee. So he said,
of course I'd go against him. He's an idiot. But first of all, he's probably not alive now. When he did it, the U.S. wasn't 36 trillion in debt. If you brought him back today and said, hey, we're 36 trillion, not billion, not 100 million, we're 36 trillion in debt, you'd see this guy go, "Are you kidding me? We need to change this real quick." And he'd do about face, turn around. And this way, when guys like John walk in from Canada, if he wants to see our national treasures, charge him, baby. Charge him.
Yeah, since you mentioned my name, I have no intention to going to Washington or any place in America right now. In any case, the Smithsonian Institute doesn't charge because its primary funding comes from the federal government. The public funding is intended to ensure that its museums and exhibits are accessible to everyone. In line with its founding mission. Hold on, please do not interrupt. Let me finish my point.
Sure.
In line with its founding mission of the increase and diffusion of knowledge. Free entry is considered vital for social equity, removing economic barriers, and allowing all visitors, regardless of income, to enjoy the nation's treasures. Charging admission can make these resources cost prohibitive for some people, contradicting the democratic ideal of open access to knowledge and culture for all. This policy is also seen as a symbol of inclusion and national pride.
Okay, that's totally irrelevant to today's society. Totally irrelevant to
in your opinion,
the situation in Washington, D.C. today. And the thing is, the reality today is this country is broke. And I've told my clients, by 2033, you're going to watch the U.S. fall into a recession you've never seen before, as Medicare and also Social Security both simultaneously go bankrupt. Now what are you going to do? You're going to have people like John read these little lines out. Well, everything should be free and no one should pay for
I never said that, Nick. Please do not put words in my mouth.
I said Please
do not misrepresent what I said. Sorry, do not. That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
But here's what I'm saying. All the stuff that you're discussing is irrelevant today.
So here I did the math. If you charge everybody, hold on. If you charged everybody who came to the Smithsonian $20, you'd make $350 million a year. You could do means testing if somebody's got a SNAP card, if somebody's got a Medicare card. But here's what you do: you set up a food court, or there's 21 museum buildings. There's another 21 libraries. You just put a Popeyes attached, a Taco Bell, and you charge people $25, and you get a museum and a meal deal. So you see the museum, and then when you walk out, you get chicken fingers from Popeyes for your $25.
You don't want to do means testing. Look, the European Union's got to be 10 times more liberal than the U.S., and they don't do means testing. They charge fees to go in and see places like that. And the thing is, it's just not this, it's the whole attitude everywhere that you see that. And that's the reason this country is broke. And it's hard for me to talk to clients when I know that in 10 years from now, Mark, you, Rick, if you're going to be on Social Security, you're going to get a 24% haircut. And then Medicare, you can forget Medicare. It won't even exist. Okay? It's because of this attitude that we have today that everything's going to be for free, and we live in the land of the free.
Again, you're misrepresenting what I said. And if you're serious, hold on. If you're serious about what you want to do to prevent America from going broke, charge more taxes on the super wealthy. Again, you want to fix. What's that?
I have no problem with that at all. And this is what problem I have with Donald.
Don't be taking access to the poor and the average person in Washington or anywhere else. Tax the friggin' rich.
I would tax the bejeebers out of them, but not increasing the marginal rates. I would shut down the means that they have to transport the wealth into their paquitos. For example, they don't take salaries; they take loans They don't take salaries. They get interest and dividends, so they don't pay into Social Security and Medicare. These are obvious, huge loopholes.
How much money would you save doing that?
Billions. I mean, who knows how many billions?
Thank you.
But billions start. Yeah, you get more, as Dave Walker says, get more from the rich and little from everybody else, and make a plan to cover this big donut hole.
Kim Calhoun has a comment. Kim Calhoun has a comment down here.
Saying the argument about that is BS.
Here's Kim's comment.
It's not BS, dude. I hope you're not a U.S. guy, because if you are, you're going to be in a depression in about 10 years.
Look at Kim's comment. Why are we spending billions to build detainment centers? So I don't know if it's billions, but
who are actually paying their own way.
Nebraska, hold on. Nebraska just announced, their Trumpy governor just announced that they are building a Cornhusker clink like Alligator Alcatraz in Nebraska. Now, Nebraska has no immigrant problem. Nebraska, 95.6% of Nebraskans are citizens. They're not being overrun, but they're building a detainment center, a prison for 280 of the worst, immigrant criminals. Now, Alligator Alcatraz costs $100,000 per detainee per year, and that's a prison for 4,500 people. This thing, 280 people. To build a prison for 280 people means you've got an annual cost per prisoner of at least $150,000 per prisoner a year. That's crazy wasteful.
I agree. We should just deport him. By the way, to answer Jason's question, no, I hate the big, beautiful bill. It was too much of a giveaway. He was doing the right thing with Dodge, getting rid of the waste in Washington. Then your friend Donald turned around, and rather than put the screws and make sure he collects revenue, which is his job, he turned around and gave all the cards away to the rich. So what Donald did was what one word can describe: stupid. Stupid is.
I'm glad that you changed your tune from a month ago.
What he should have done is Dodge, which is correct, get rid of the government waste, and then collect revenue, serious revenue, by keeping the taxes high and keeping the tax collection high. So Donald, you blew it, buddy. You got half the equation
wrong.
I'm
happy for small miracles.
You got half of it right, half of it wrong. But when you get the other half wrong, I don't know if he's done math tests before.
Well, Jason said he wants
you basically fail. I hate to say it. When I did simplex regression analysis, if I got the bottom half incorrect, I'd get an F. So the thing is as great as an F. Sorry, MAGA wonderful. He was halfway there, but he didn't put the ball in the end zone. As a University of Miami grad, just remember, you got to put the ball in the end zone. It doesn't count if you fumble it on the 1 yard line. So anyway,
I'm happy for small miracles. I'm glad to see that Nikki has changed.
Why does this guy Jason love Trump? Why is Jason jumping in and loving Trump? I don't get it.
Well, Jason said he wants to come in, so we'll put the link there.
We're gonna get him in here, baby. What do you think this is? A Republican one-way thing?
By the way, there are two museums.
I gotta get Toby on, baby.
There are two museums that charge regularly, by the way, and then one of them is the newer museum, the African Art Museum is charging, and also you'll love this one, the FBI Museum charges. So apparently those are the two museums that you have to pay a fee for, and all along.
As long as they charge, I don't really care what they call themselves. You can be as racist as you want. I mean, the thing is, America, they voted what's the most racist country in the world. America turned out number one because they're just so bloody racist. Not to say Europe isn't, but they're weird racist here because you're Catalonian or you're civilian or you're Andalusian. I mean, just really, really weird. And when you're a mixed butt, you just basically don't give a rat's about all this stuff. It's fun to discuss, but other than that, it's a waste of time. No one's going to get rich and your life isn't going to get better discussing racism. It ain't going to happen. It just won't happen unless you can figure a way to monetize on it. That's the story. Someone was more interested in how Zelensky dresses than ending a war. Of course he was, because dress for success works. So I mean, it's absolutely true. And we try to coach people to dress, and unfortunately today Americans dress like slobs, and they dress like slobs because they are slobs, and royalty dresses nicely because they are royal, and that's the reality of it. You are who you dress. So Zelensky showed up dressed like a slob. That's because he's a slob. Now he determined maybe I won't be a slob. Good for him. And he's still not dressing well, to be honest with you. You'd never see a person with royal blood dressing like that. Yuck. And Americans
We
dress
should all be
horribly.
like royals.
They dress horribly. Wow, you are an
We
American.
should all be like royals, like Nikki.
Absolutely. The thing is, it's
Absolutely.
about time. It's about time you guys
Yeah.
upgraded yourself and stop looking to be in the
Well,
gutter.
the
Warriors dress like
question.
warriors. Oh, that I agree.
Be
You dress
like
a warrior.
Nikki. Be
Wait,
like
Nick.
Yeah,
royal.
collared shirts, baby. None of this
just
t-shirt
real quick.
garbage. And
Can you go
yeah,
back?
Musk showed up in a t-shirt because that's where Musk comes from. He comes from the dirts of South Africa. So of course he shows up with a t-shirt.
Nick,
They're
I would-
hilarious.
no,
I won't hire him. Are you kidding me? He'd be out the door. Go on.
you went really fast over something, and you were talking about the racist whatever. What did you say?
I'm saying is that you can't monetize that. And if you can't monetize it, it's worthless.
He
to
said
tell you.
Americans
In other
are
words,
racist.
Americans love to discuss stuff that is a waste of time and worthless.
So
And the thing is, Americans are like heavy into their racism stuff. Everything, in other words, the African American Museum is a racist museum. Am I missing something?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes,
Right?
you are.
How is
What
it a
am I
racist?
missing?
Nick, hold on.
You
How is
know?
it a racist?
Why don't you have?
Nick,
Why don't you have the
Nick,
Chinese
Nick,
museum?
you're
That's a
rambling.
racist
You're
museum
rambling.
too.
Nick, you're rambling. Can you
Oh,
answer this question, Nick?
It's
How
supposed
is
to be
it racist?
Americans.
Nick,
Forget this
stop.
Africa.
Can you-
Why don't we have a
can-
European
How is it
American?
racist? How is it racist? Nick, how is it racist?
Because it's racism whenever you introduce race as a factor, Jatovi. Okay? I mean, now whether you like it or not.
Do you
okay?
understand what racism is?
Yeah. It's the thing is it's you're going to your roots or your ancestors, and you're basically
Nick.
saying I am
Nick.
who my ancestors were.
Come on, Nick.
Well, I'm a
Nick,
royal.
I need you.
So should I just say, guys,
I need you just to
I like
answer.
listening to all your
Do you
garbage,
know what
but I'm
racism
royalty.
is?
Kiss my ring while you're at it. Where's my ring? There you go.
You
All right,
you
so
went
roll
down
ring.
some crazy
That's
tangent.
my
Didn't
roll
even
ring.
make
Very
any
good.
sense. Do you know what
Hey,
racism
there's Dr.
is? Was the simple question.
Hey, but you're having a good time, President.
So you
Toby,
wanna get
admit it,
rid
you're
of-
having a good time.
hold on. You want to get rid of most racism, but there's some fun racism you can keep, like that you see in stand-up routines, like that Jewish people are terrible in gym class and that we complain about stuff. You can't get rid of stuff like that. That's just fun.
But that's not
someday we'll all be
racist.
gone.
That's
Yeah,
not
we-
racism. What you're talking about, Rick,
Whatever.
that's different. So that's why I asked the question. Do you know what racism is?
Yeah, it's people that are looking in the mirror and all they see is race, and most people unfortunately do it because they're stupid human beings. So when robots start taking over, they're not going to be racist unless you program that way, Jacoby. And I don't know if you're going
Nick's
to program the
going all
robots.
over the place. All over the place.
Yeah, just don't program racism into robots, and they'll
Yeah,
be.
but that's already happened. There has been
You have racist
There's
robots.
been racist AI because they were trained on racist data sets. There was a
Really?
AI mortgage like app that turned out to be racist because the data it got came from racists
Hey,
denying
Can
mortgages.
we
to
make
mortgage
money if Rick? Can we make money if we create racist
Wow.
robots? Hey, Toby, can we make money if
Again.
we create racist robots?
Again,
But
you
you never
haven't
answered
answered the
what,
question. This is
Nick,
where
you
the
never answered
problem
the
comes into
question.
play.
What is your
This is where the
definition of
problem comes into
racism?
play. Hold on, real quick, Mark. This is where the problem comes into play. Is it a lack of understanding exactly what racism is? Because going down the path of saying,
We'll
well,
have
it
to
can
go
be
to
funny
explain.
racism, or it can be no, racism is a bad thing all around. So there's no real funny or flip side to racism. So for example, well, for example, when Rick, you were saying that, oh, we make jokes about, no, that's self-deprecation, dealing with an actual ethnic group understanding and being invited into a joke. They're not being oppressed in that joke. That is a part of racism, is that part of power, that power dichotomy that fits inside of racism. So when we're talking about racism and not understanding that racism is something different than that, it's like, yeah, just saying. So that's why I asked the question, how can the African American Museum be racist?
All right, so there's a thing in comedy, you don't punch down. So like you punch across, like you can be Jewish and you can make fun of Jews. You can't be whitey and go after black people. That has the potential to be punching down. You want to punch up at the powers to be. You don't want to go after people who are in a disadvantaged position relative to you. And if you follow that, you can avoid some of the more pernicious stuff that calls itself comedy, but is really just racist.
Hold on a second. I got a question for Dr. Sharif, because I think I've seen Jason as one of your panelists. Is that correct? Because I think I've seen Jason before, and he said that he wanted to come on the show, and he's been having a lot of comments and everything. But isn't he one of your regular panelists, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, Jason is my friend. He's from USA. He's from Transhumanist Party. He's my very good friend, and he always encourage me, motivate me, support me, and I love him a lot. Jason, thank you for your comments. You are a great man, and maybe we will launch more positive work together. World Talent Economic Forum has very good fan around the world. They support us. And they always inspire us, and Jason is one of them. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought I had seen him before and everything. So I did put the link in the chat if he wants to jump in, and I'll put it up there again if he wants to copy it and all along those lines. I don't have his email, or you can send the email to him yourself, Sharif, as well, since you do have his email and everything. But yeah, that's it if he wants to jump in.
I will invite him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick, I got a question for you, because me and Sasha were talking about it briefly yesterday, and I didn't realize it was much of an issue as it is and everything like that. But apparently we're destroying, I know you're not a big fan of climate change either, everything, but apparently we're destroying the rainforests and the rainforests around the world. But apparently there's a major industry, which I did not realize, but there is a specialty kind of wood that the RVs of the world need. And that is why we are destroying thousands, maybe tens or hundreds of thousands of acres of land in order for them to get this specialty wood to build the fancy RV. So I was just wondering your thoughts around us destroying a part of the nature and the world's nature in order to build fancy RVs, because apparently they got to have this certain kind of plywood or a certain kind of wood in order to be all over the road and everything like that. So what is your take on this? Because it was a big article that was out there yesterday and everything like that. So what's your thoughts around us destroying the rainforest basically in order to build fancy RVs?
Well, as everybody on the panel knows, that climate change is a big hoax. So the thing is, and climate change, all the panel knows, climate change has been taking place for the last 200, 300, 3,000 years. The climate always changes. No. The only people that are trying to make money out of it is some goofy little girl in Sweden and Al Gore. So the thing is, all these people are trying to make money off of climate change, and trying to make me bleed my heart. Nick, oh no, we're creating all this trouble. So it's kind of a waste of time to even discuss climate change.
I have a good question, because you asked.
Wait. Do I hear some people that are supporting the hoax out there?
Yeah.
Dr. Sharif has something he wants to tell you.
Oh, Dr. Sharif is supporting it. Of course, he's in Bangladesh. It's a way to grab money from Americans. Go on, Dr. Sharif.
Okay, Nick, I have a very good question. First thing first, like, I know you are a good businessman, and you asked Jatavi that can we make money from this robotics and all of the things. Actually, for this kind of, you are very intelligent, you are smart, you are very professional. But for this stupid comment, did you get payment from Trump? Professor Nick,
What's your question?
My question's very polite way. You are very smart. You are very intelligent. You are very professional. But for these stupid comments, you get paid by Trump.
Donald is sending me money. That'd be great. That would be absolutely great.
Is there any options for you? Because Professor Nick, I'm actually astronist. I organized a session. It's called Climate Collapse. So I want to say climate never, it's changed, but it's gone. Now climate collapse. Let's say I live in Bangladesh. I grow in a very small place. It's called Rajbari.
Okay.
What happens? No. Listen. You are not Trump. I know. Listen. Let's say, do you know how many Rajbari people from Bangladesh right now losing their land? How many people in Pakistan, in Kashmir, lose their life? 317 people just day before yesterday because of the climate collapse. I do not want to say climate change, because of climate collapse. Do you know how many people died in Nepal?
I have no idea. You tell me.
Yeah. You don't have an idea. You do not have experience. And
no, I don't.
I strongly, I respect you a lot.
But,
I respect you a lot. But when you bring all of these stupid comments like Trump,
it's not a stupid comment.
Trust me.
Listen to this. This is Chat GDP. This is Jacoby on steroids.
There's no such thing as Chat GDP.
I'm going to quote this.
There's no such thing as Chat GDP.
Listen, it goes
Sasha,
18th and 19th
century. Let's hear from Sasha.
18th and 19th century, particularly the period known as the Little Ice Age, experienced significantly colder temperatures in the 18th and 19th century, with the 17th century and the 18th century being the coldest period in 12,000 years.
Nick, you're not an expert
according to climate change.
You are not an expert. You're wrong.
Nick, you're not listening. Nick,
you're just AI speaking.
Let me point out a fact.
You guys aren't listening. It's very well temperatures drop.
Professor Nick, I want to invite you in Bangladesh, my birthplace. Professor Nick, I want to invite you. ChatGPT is not real. I want to invite you, Professor.
It's right on the internet.
Nick,
Google it.
Look, come on.
Believe everything on the internet.
Hold on a second. We got Sasha. Sasha's got a question as well. Sasha.
There were climate changes in the last 5 million years, and there will be more.
I said climate collapse.
Next 5 million.
I said climate collapse, not climate change.
No.
Climate collapse.
Oh,
Climate collapse.
I'm not
collapse
sure.
From Himalayas.
I don't know much about collapses.
Hold on.
You know a lot.
Just Pakistan.
Okay, when it will be your turn, you will talk about nothing but climate collapse, and I appreciate that. I don't know much about climate collapse, except that, for example, lately the temperature in province of Ontario in Canada, where I live, is becoming much warmer. The winters are warmer. The summer was fantastic, still is. And whatever climate change or collapse even, I'm worried because me, my family, my friends, and people that I know benefit from it, and I want them to continue. Thank you.
Sasha, you are good man. But my request, beside this dialogue, beside all of your talk in Europe, in USA, or in Canada, I want to invite you in Bangladesh, my birthplace. We are losing land every single time because of what? Because of Himalaya, because of this, all of the natural disaster. My birthplace, where my father's land and all of the things. Every single day we are losing. It's a disaster.
The scientific consensus, despite what Nick says, despite what Sasha says, The scientific consensus is that climate change is not a hoax. It's happening, and it's being caused primarily by humans. Emissions of carbon dioxide. I know, Nikki and Sasha, that's hard for you to accept, but that's the scientific consensus. Both of you are not experts on the subject. I will listen to the subjects. As
Okay.
Dr. Sheriff has said, he has personal experience on this. I have Sasha, what you just said about Ontario, we went through what, a 40-day plus heat wave.
Yep.
All right. So
Yes.
again, if you're saying that it's a hoax, okay, or somehow we're benefiting as a society, that is just not true, according to the scientific consensus and experts. I apologize if it's hard for you guys to read a book on it, for goodness sake.
Okay,
Honestly.
my book, I read book on that, and it's one of the books by Yuval Harari, who is well-known Israeli. He's a Jewish, and he's an author, very prolific, and his books are being printed in tens of millions of copies.
I've read a couple of his books.
So one of his books, he's talking about climate change. He is not in a position to prove that this is a man-made disaster or it's a nature-made disaster. But what he's saying here, there are changes in the climate in the last few years. The problem is that if you want to get serious about it and fight it, that requires coordination of all industrial countries in the whole world.
I agree.
Includes
I agree.
China, and that includes India, and
Sasha.
that includes all of it. And if they didn't reach
I agree.
consensus,
No.
it's not gonna work. That's a
Sasha, Sasha, I give you a real example. I'm a sufferer. I am a sufferer. My 20 million people is sufferer. 100 million has effect for climate change. I'm just giving you example. Experience, not like theory, science, these and the experience. Look, the Himalaya, most of our river getting all of the supported through Himalaya, right? India has Ganga, largest river is Ganga. And then it's a Padma. Padma go to Bay of Bengal. I am beside the peoples of Padma. I grow in the area of Padma. I want to say it's a man-made. How? Like 100 years before, India developed Ganga barrage inside India. Just go and Google it. See Indian map. 100 of barrages developed by India. That is the issues in Bangladesh. We are not getting water from Ganga. This is our natural things. This is our natural
on
things.
Sasha's point.
Please,
So
please,
I
please.
read his
Hold on a
book.
second,
The
John.
author that hold on. I read the books mentioned by the author, by Sasha, and what he's saying. My understanding, he's not saying that it's a hoax. He's saying yes, that countries have to work together to solve the problem, which I
Exactly.
am for. Absolutely, we need to solve this, just like we did. The whole world solved the ozone hole problem. This
Okay.
is much bigger than that. Please, let's not go down the path of Nikki or others saying this is a hoax
All fake
or it's
people.
not human. Let me finish my point that it's a hoax or it's not happening or it's not caused by humans. It is said by the climate experts and the scientific
Okay.
consensus.
Okay.
Rick,
Because
you go
of this
first.
Ganga barrage, please.
Yeah,
because
Rick, and
of this
hold on a
Ganga
second.
barrage.
You're reading too much IPCC garbage.
All right,
You know.
No.
it's my
Yeah.
freaking turn
Okay.
here.
I give you
Right.
I
example.
can help you out, Dr. Sharif. Turn on the AC, baby. Dr.
Sharif,
Sharif,
It's my turn.
some
All right.
AC in
So,
Bangladesh.
It's Rick.
everybody shut up. All right.
Turn on
So,
the AC.
It's
Yeah,
Rick's
No.
turn.
Nick is wrong.
Please
Hold
listen.
on.
Turn on the AC, baby.
Listen.
Lit,
Okay.
come on. So Nick is right that over thousands of years, the climate does change gradually, but the climate is changing thanks to human intervention at such a rate that we are losing species at 100 to 1,000 times the rate of the normal rate of life on Earth. since the year 1500, the humans have wiped out 1/8 of all the species on Earth. So,
And when did this
So-
happen? Wait. Let's talk
Nick,
about
Nick,
when
hold
did
on,
the
Nick.
one
Let me jump in real quick. Let me
Read
jump in. Let me jump in. Nick, hold
It
on.
happened way before today,
Hold
didn't
on,
it?
Nick, you're rambling. Let me
Way
go ahead and
before
jump in real
today.
quick. Let me jump in
You
real
know.
quick, Nick, because I want to go ahead and correct you. And which
No, I thought you were going
Hold
to
on, Nick,
support
hold
me
on,
like
hold on,
Sasha.
hold on, Nick, hold on,
You're
hold
going to
on.
argue
I
with
can
me?
go longer than you because I'm younger and have more wind in my lungs. So let's finish this out real quick. Now, Sasha pointed out something which actually contradicted his point, which made me laugh. Sasha said there's no evidence of it, but hey, it's warmer now here in Canada, and it's warmer here, dude.
But
It's
maybe
warmer,
because
that's
there's
why.
need
Hey,
to
Sasha, I'm
change.
younger
Is it
than you too, and I
climate
can go longer than
change?
you too.
So,
We will get to this
so
point.
you're
You go, let me
trying
finish this
to
point. You're not gonna
prove
overtalk
I
me because this
myself
isn't how this works.
contradict.
You
That's
know I
not
will talk,
true.
and I will keep on going, making up
Yeah,
words.
yeah, keep
So,
going.
hey, Sasha,
I enjoy
you
it.
can go ahead, go in the background you want to. and
Yes,
we'll sit here for 20
yes.
minutes going like this because you know I can talk. So, okay,
You
Sasha,
can talk for
you
sure.
said that it gets warmer in your area. Oh my goodness. You know what that is? That's called global warming. That global
Called
warming is the
summer.
warming of the temperature, which right now, this year within itself, is the coolest it will ever be going forward. There are various reasons why. One, Nick, you tried to talk about, well, there's temperature ranges. Yeah, sure, that happens, but not to the extent that has happened now due to the fact of deforestation, higher carbon dioxide within the area or within the air, higher pollution rates. All that's man-made. So
Many
therefore,
lines
that
of evidence, not just one line.
That creates a hotter temperature, which is why we have a 400-mile storm off the coast of the U.S. right now, which is why storms are intensifying. This is why Australia has lost the Great Barrier Reef, because the bleaching is the largest it has been in a long time. So therefore, these volcanoes and stuff like that, that's a natural occurrence. But what isn't is actually the actual the pollution's put in the air by all these factories and so on and so forth, not to mention the increase of AI, which is actually taking away a lot of water and also increasing the planet's temperature due to the fact of the cooling of those areas. So global warming is real, which creates a climate change system, which creates that problem that we're having to deal with. So yes, Sasha, you yourself said it's getting warmer. It's a fact. It is getting warmer.
My people are
encourage-
dying. No.
That's because we just went through the little ice age. Come on. And that was like what, last 200 years ago. Go look at go type in the little ice age someday, Jatovi.
No, Nick, read a goddamn book.
And then you're gonna say, "Oh no, we had
You
climate
say these
change."
things,
Good.
but don't
Good.
where's
Good.
that little Swedish girl? Yes,
Nick,
we're
my
going to go
Swedish
into
girl.
a
Why
deep
don't you
freeze
roll out
because
that
of the global
Swedish-
warming situation.
Greta, come save us.
It's a
Greta,
reset.
save
It
us.
happens in
Hey, look,
nature.
if it gets warmer, then I can go vacation in Canada. Otherwise, your country's way too cold.
We're
for me.
actually having
I grew up in
problems.
Florida. I like warm weather.
Alaska's
I
dealing
want
with
to
a lot of
mention
problems.
something this very important moment. That in a warmer climate, there is much more lovemaking and more babies will be produced than in a colder.
There's more death. There's more famine. There's more starvation. There's less water.
Look,
So what you're talking
long
about
as there is
love
more
making, it ain't happening.
lovemaking, it's all justified.
And
Seriously, I encourage all the deniers to read a book on the
not book.
consensus.
John,
There's
not only
many
read book.
books. There's
Visiting
many
the
books.
climate affected area. John, I will organize tour for all of the people like Nick and Sasha.
Yeah,
Visit
get me on your show,
I encourage,
Sharif. I'll
but
show them that
I
climate
doubt
change is fake.
There's
Come on,
many
Sharif. Get me on your
lines.
show.
There's
I'll show
many
them
Hold on a
climate
lines.
second.
change
I
is
got a
fake.
question for Rick. Hey, Rick, hold on.
Hold on. Just
Didn't you
one
say
last
there was
point
less
on this
babies
climate
being
change
done?
bullshit.
And
We
Nick,
have a climate control.
the
climate
rich
system?
country,
I
they
can't
have
hear it.
All fake people.
Nick, the rich people, the rich country, the big countries like USA, like Canada, like Europe, they have to pay the small countries like Bangladesh, the Maldives for solving this climate-related issue. They committed for many more things in COP29, COP30s, but the rich country, the big country, they never go for the commitment and fulfill these things. Then, because there are climate denial, like Nick Palvedan, like Sasha.
Hey, turn on your AC. Come on, Sharif. If you're hot, Turn on. It's called
Nick,
air
that's
conditioning.
just
I will go to
disrespectful. Nick,
Bangladesh to show you how air
disrespectful.
conditioners work. Air conditioners
Disrespectful to
work if
Dr.
you're too
Sharif.
hot.
I need
Please
You
show
want
some
me to-
respect.
I need more trees. I do not need this all of the things. I need more trees like my grandfather.
Oh,
I
Lord.
need more
Mark,
people.
you had a question.
Grow trees if it makes you happy.
Mark,
Grow
you
trees
had
if
a
it makes
question.
you happy. But what you guys are trying to do is put us into that little ice age, which was only about, what, 100, 200 years ago? It was
Nick,
too
read a
cold.
book. Seriously.
Oh, no. I wonder
You're
where
embarrassing
Greta
yourself.
is. Greta,
You really are.
we're having a little ice age. It's all the people's fault. Was it all the people's fault we had a little ice age in the 17th and 18th century? Was
You're
it?
just demonstrating your lack of knowledge, Nick,
Was it?
on the
Well,
topic.
well, answer me this question. Riddle me this, Riddler.
It's embarrassing.
Was it everybody's fault? Was it humans' fault that we had a
Nick,
little
you're
ice age?
embarrassing yourself.
No, you can't answer the question, John, and you're embarrassing yourself because you can't.
No, you are embarrassing
that
yourself.
Hold on,
I
let's
said,
have
read a
fun.
book.
Nick,
A little ice age. Who caused-
Nick, you are
Come on, guys.
people's lives.
Stop all this liberal garbage.
Hold on,
Who
Nick.
caused
What
the
was your
little
question? What was your
ice age?
question? Let's have fun.
Nick,
Nick,
In
Shut
Kashmir,
up, because they don't have an answer.
Nick, what was your
All
question?
they have is boogeyman.
Nick,
Boogeyman.
what was your question?
No answer.
What was your
Okay.
question?
Nick,
Yeah, who caused the little ice age to Toby?
Nick,
You got
Who
the answer to that one?
caused the little ice age?
Yep, the little ice age.
When
Who
was the
caused
little
it?
ice age, Nick?
I'm asking you who caused it.
When was it? Can you tell me when it was, and I can give you an explanation around it. So when was it?
Well, you can look that up on the internet. Little
Thank
ice
you.
age.
So you don't even know what you're talking about. So please let's
No, I
move
said
on.
17th or
Take it
18th
away.
century.
Dr. Sharif, go ahead.
Yeah, Nick, you are disrespecting the people. Yesterday, like day before 1 and 2 days, 317 people died in Kashmir because of this climate effect.
Okay, it took place between the year 1300 and
understand the
1850.
You do not understand the pain of the people. You are disrespecting the family, those who lost their life. I do not think that it's the
Okay.
Nick Palveda.
Well, how many
Nick
people
is
lost
one
their
of the-
lives in the Little Ice Age? By the way, one began in 1650, the other began in 1770, and the last one in 1850. This is all on the internet, Jatovi.
Yeah,
Dr.
Nicholas
Sharif.
is educating us
That was
on
the Little
climate
Ice
change.
Age. Now,
Nick,
Counselor,
Nick,
It's a
Counselor,
joke.
rather than ripping off all the liberal talking points,
Nick, hold on.
explain to
Since you're on the
me
internet,
who caused it.
Nick, hold on. Since you're on the internet and you're so
I am.
you're so educated,
I'm
and
asking you to
very
educate yourself, Jatovi.
can you
It's gonna
tell
be hard for
me
you to get
during
this.
that time what was the carbon dioxide level in the air?
And where?
In the
So-
air, the parts per million. What was the carbon level?
What do you think I am, Rick Rosner? And I know
Man,
answers
you
like this
have
off
no
the top of my head.
Yeah, so you're not an expert, Rick. I mean,
Yeah.
You're
Do you
not
know
an
what the
expert.
temperature was in 1832, John? You know
No.
what the average
hey,
temperature?
listen,
You don't.
listen.
And-
In
oh,
all
that means you're not an
seriousness,
expert, John. So be
it-
quiet.
No,
Come
No,
on.
I read
you can't
books.
plot
You
the
haven't.
CO2 just
You
as
have not
John
read
Paul
any
does.
books.
You can't plot the CO2
You
levels.
know,
You don't
do
understand.
you know what's on
the
page? Do you know what the
Yeah.
21st move is on the Nidorf defense? No, you don't. You're not an expert. Come on, stop that.
All right, so Bangladesh is a river delta country. It's like Louisiana, where it's a lot of low-lying areas. Bangladesh has 161 million people, tens of millions of people who could be displaced in the next couple decades by rising ocean levels. The United Nations estimates a minimum of 200 million people by 2050 will be displaced by climate change.
Good. They need to move. We've already been over that. They don't need to stay there. Why would you want to stay in like New Orleans when everybody knows it's underwater, or in Bangladesh, or even Venice? So just move.
Oh,
You know,
sound like
don't make me do anything for you. You get off your
Sharif,
butt and
I
move
guess
somewhere.
you're going to have to move.
You can move to Canada. It'll be warmer there. Hey, Dr. Sharif, move to Canada. The weather will be nicer there.
Nick,
Right?
just
Right now? Right,
you're
right.
living in Nick,
Sasha?
you're
The
living
weather's
in
nice in Canada.
Nick,
Now
hold
I'm
on,
considering buying a place
Nick,
there.
Nick,
I'm
you're
about
talking
places
about just
to
up and moving.
Ice
You're
age.
talking about just up and moving, and you're living in
Ice
Spain,
age.
right? You're living in Spain. You know what you're gonna
I
have to
live
do
in
as the
Barcelona.
water
Barcelona's
rises?
not,
you're going to have to move to.
Wait a minute, aren't you dealing with fires, Nick? Because y'all have a major
Nick is
fire.
dealing
and
with
everything.
fires, internet outages,
He
everything.
can move to Russia with his buddy.
No, well, you know, I live in Barcelona. What's wrong with that?
Yeah,
Barcelona
it's
is
going to be
where-
underwater as the glaciers melt too.
You know,
so-
and by the
Spain will
way,
not be impacted.
Canada, the real estate values in Canada will go up because it'll be a better climate where no one would live in that icy, stupid place today. It'll go up. And places
see,
like
this is the funny
Bangladesh,
part,
the real
Nick.
estate values are going to
Nick,
go
this is the
down.
funny part.
Because
This
we want
is-
to
You
live
forgot we're
in a
all
hellhole.
lazy. We're
You
all
know?
lazy,
So,
Nick. So
Dr.
that's
Sharif,
going to
you
be
need
hard.
to migrate to Canada.
Nick,
That's it.
this is
Not a
what
big
you
deal.
don't
Or turn on the
understand.
AC.
Because this is why we
Oh,
talk
why you
about
guys are-
CO2 levels, because of the
But
fact
don't
you're
send me
going to
that Swedish.
it's going to be, you know, you're talking about packing billions of people in small little areas
Oh boy,
with less oxygen.
you've got
And you
plenty
have
of space
poisonous
in
water
Canada.
because we've already
Because
poisoned the water. You have less food sources because the basis
You've got plenty of food and water in
with the
Canada.
coral reefs and all
There's
the krill and all the
plenty
other
of
stuff.
water and
So
food in Canada. What
now
are you
you have a
talking
low
about?
food source. Now you have
There's
starvation.
no
You have
lakes and
famine.
no
Water world becomes real. So let's talk to who was it? Kirk Costner, whoever it was, and figure out how to make water world a real thing, because it's going to
It'll
be
be
bad.
beautiful.
Oh no.
Sasha will tell
really
you.
interesting.
Sasha
Something
loves
really
it.
interesting that I read, which I didn't get a chance to read the whole article, but there was evidently an MIT researcher or a group at MIT that put out something in, what was it, 1967 or I think it was 67 or in the 70s, where evidently it predicted the downfall of society by 2040. And evidently we're on the pathway to whatever that prediction was. So I thought that was kind of interesting. People like Nick, you just driving the bus leading to destruction.
Hey, we're going the right direction to Toby. Just listen to Sasha. We've been around longer than you have.
Jason
Yeah,
may
you
have
youngsters
thoughts around
can
this
talk
as
a lot,
well.
but you haven't been
Hold on a
around long.
second, Nick.
Listen to
We're ready to
Sasha.
wrap up and everything, and Jason may have some thoughts around this if he comes tomorrow and everything along those lines. But you do know that there have been entire conversations around, because I'm going to tie some of the issues together around tree equity and even around like racism, even in the way that we grow trees. Because I know even here in Durham, North Carolina, there's been this notion that a lot of the trees are supported in areas like Trayburn and Hope Valley, but not as much in the urban areas and in the project areas and all along those lines. So there's actually been a push to grow trees in some of those areas so that there is better health in terms of the climate in some of those areas. And that's one of the conversations that I know Toby's even aware of, that has been going on for a while, where they're trying to have tree equity. But Nick doesn't believe in tree equity.
Yeah, just a last point on climate change. Sharif, I feel for your country, because I think it's a challenge. We're not going to convince Nick. I have hope for Sasha. I encourage Sasha, please do read some books by the experts, and maybe you'll change your views. Maybe you won't. That's okay. I'll continue to hope. And I feel for people in Bangladesh and Dr. Sharif, because they're feeling the brunt and the harm, and that's only going to grow if we don't come together across all global nations to help solve it.
Yeah, and on that note, we're going to get out of here. We do have the investment show with Sasha, and I believe Jimmy will be with him along with Milan, and I think they'll probably be discussing what I know Jacoby was interested in, which is what's going on with NVIDIA and all along those lines. So they'll be discussing that at 1 o'clock. So I'll see you at 1 o'clock, Sasha, and we'll see what the conversation is.
Well, Sasha, you may want to also at 1 o'clock. That's the Google Play. Was it? I forget, Google's big reveal of the Pixel stuff, and their whole ecosystem happens at 1 o'clock as well. So you might want to tune into that and see how the stocks are going to go with that, because Google has their attention shift.
Right now, it's definitely a correction on the market. It will be one of two scenarios. Either it's going to be a short 3% correction, which is already happening, so to speak, or it will be a lengthy 10% plus correction, which will affect a lot of stocks and a lot of investors, unfortunately. And how to mitigate that, I will discuss it on our show at 1 o'clock.
Sounds good. Look forward to it. See you tomorrow.